I just tore my mainsail. Good morning, tribe. Well, it's actually afternoon. I got up bright and early this morning because I had plans. I had plans of getting the dinghy all together and in the water with the motor on it. I got gas yesterday. I was gonna fill up the tank and take the dinghy out for a test run. New boater. I didn't plan right. I have navionics. I can check the tides and the wind, but I didn't do that. I just assumed, which is probably a fatal mistake for solo sailors. I assumed it was going to be okay, and it wasn't. As soon as I got the dinghy in the water, and I had the motor mounted on the crane and dangling vicariously over the side of the boat right next to my solar panel, things got crazy. It got real windy, up to about 7 knots. And then it got super choppy because, well, you know, the tide's coming in. So I paused myself, holding that motor out over the side of the boat, trying to keep it from smashing into my solar panel. And as I was doing that, the charters started to leave. 9:30, 10 o'clock, they start leaving. And like I've mentioned before, in addition to the La Paz waltz, which is caused by the currents, extreme currents in and out, we have the charter captains, and they like to go full speed out of their area there and as close to the sailboats as they can. But it seemed that when they saw me dangling the motor out over the side right next to the solar panel that was cantilevered out but is now this way with the engine sort of like, they got as close as they could to my boat. Not one, not two, but 5 boats, 5 separate occasions, got within about 5 feet of my boat, which is fine if you're going slow, but if you're kicking off a wake, my boat will rise up and down about 5 feet. And so what I did is I retreated a little bit. I pulled the motor back up really quick while I could. I was shaking all over the place again. Timing was wrong. I know that they leave at that time in the morning. I got up early to try and avoid some of that. I also thought that it was going to be dead glassy and no wind. If I had just looked at the navionics, I would have known better. Needless to say, I'm gonna wait on the dinghy. I'm gonna wait till I leave La Paz. La Paz is one of those more advanced areas to anchor and be in. Unless you're in a marina, it is crazy out here. It's why they call it the La Paz waltz. You're all over the place. For a first-time boater, that's scary. I've never done a lot of this stuff before. I've certainly never lifted a freaking 80-pound motor up on a crane system that I built and then hung it over the side of a boat onto a dinghy. I've never done that before. So I want to go slow. Here you can't go slow. You gotta know what you're gonna do and commit to it immediately because you've got very little time. I still need to stop and think about what the heck it is I'm doing because I don't want to drop my motor into the water. I can't dive down that far and pull an 80-pound motor back to the surface. It would just be gone. So, since I need very little in here, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till I can anchor somewhere a little more calm where I can take my time. I only need to get to shore to grab my mail, some laundry, and do one last provisioning. I can always call my helper, Andreas, for a 12-pack of beer. I did meet another new sailing couple, Angie and Jay, on Serenity. Really cool people. They got 3 great dogs. We went to the beach, took Mouse, had fun. Mouse is still exhausted, by the way. It's noon, and she hasn't left the bed. So that's good. Tired dog's a happy dog. So I think I can probably hitch a ride from one of them in and out. So for now, I'm gonna do like the locals, and I'm gonna observe my siesta time. I'll make something to eat and hang out in the shade under a fan during the hottest part of the day, which should reach about the mid-80s from what I saw when I looked at navionics after the fact. So, planning on leaving this weekend, guys. I plan on leaving this weekend. Angie and Jay first-time sailors. They're planning on leaving this weekend. I might ask them if I could buddy sail with them, just so I'm not completely alone out there. They're new sailors, like I said, so they empathize with me. They were right where I am just not too long ago, so they understand the nerves, and that's nice. It's nice that you know, I met some people that are like, yep, that's boating. We were just doing that a couple months ago, so it's good. I don't feel like it's just me. It's not just me, it's everybody. Okay, I'm gonna get back at the dinghy probably around 3 o'clock. Hopefully things will die down by then, and I can do it then, or I just won't. I'll just wait and go somewhere else. If I can get the dinghy working now, I'd like to, but who knows. I still can't get over that. They're just right here. They've been hanging out right here off the side of my boat, just hanging out. I had to bring Mouse in. She was just losing her mind. She's gotten better now. She only starts barking when she sees them full on now. It used to be anytime she heard a sound or them breach in the water or anything like that, she'd just start going off. Now she sees the animal, and then she starts doing her barking thing. And I can get her to stop. It's just when she sees another one, she starts again. And it becomes this sort of cycle. So the easiest thing for me to do is to bring her in when she becomes a little bit unbearable. I'll let her go back out there, and she'll do her thing for a little bit and bark and stuff, and then I'll bring her back. Slowly but surely with those bull terriers there, you have to just be consistent, because they are gonna do their own thing every time. Well guys, during siesta I decided I'd do a little bit of woodwork on here and break out the Murphy's oil and give her a shine. Take a look at that. Man, she comes back so beautifully. Eventually I'll have to go through and put another coat of varnish on everything in here. You can see in some spots there's a little bit of fading, but for the most part, she brightens up very well with just a little bit of that Murphy's oil. Beautiful stuff. Well, Trav, just as I sat down to a turkey manchego sandwich, I heard something, a loud something, right outside my boat. It is a massive yacht. You're looking at 40 feet from the top deck to the water below. It doesn't look that big on the screen, but it is massive. She's backing slowly into the marina there. Very cool. And of course, because I'm eating lunch, Mouse finally emerges from the back cabin. I think it's only because she knows I'm a pushover, and I like spoiling my baby. I just tore my mainsail. I got up this morning, 4:45, in hopes, oh, come on, you. In hopes that I could get the sail up before it got windy, which I pretty much did. It's just now starting to get windy. Doing this stuff by yourself when you don't know what you're doing is cumbersome at best. I got the sail on the mast, but the lazy jacks came out from the sheave at the top, so they folded down, and because the sail was up on the mast, a little bit of wind caught it and started blowing it off to the side. So I went up the mast real quick to run the lines again to try and pull the lazy jacks back up. I don't think I've shown you guys this. Let me show you my deck. Okay, so as you can see, my deck is really worn. Someone took a deck brush and went this way with it, which sort of takes the grain out. And then up towards the front, they actually used a pressure washer. So you can see here, the epoxy that goes in between is actually sticking up higher than the wood. And then these screws are not supposed to be showing through. There's supposed to be a bung like this on top. But because the wood's worn away, the screws are poking out. Well, in a couple of these spots, the screw heads are sticking out far enough that they can actually catch on things like toes and sails. Needless to say, what I think happened is the sail might have got a little bit of a small hole in it as it was laying down on one of the screws, or even the epoxy. And when I was pulling the sail back onto the mast, I think it got caught on one of those screw heads. And when I got it onto the mast and I was pulling it up, the tension from me pulling took that little hole and it ripped it a good 6 to 8 inches. Needless to say, at the time I was flustered. We'll say flustered. And I needed to take a break. Luckily for me, my new friends Angie and Jay gave me a call and asked me if I would like to go back over to the dog beach with Mouse. And I thought, you know what? I need to get off the boat for a little while, because if I don't, I'm probably going to start bashing my head into the mast. So, yeah, we went to the beach. Angie had to drop Jay off so that he could go get the transmission for their boat, because they were having some issues with that, and it was finally finished. And she was going to take her dogs to the beach and grab Mouse and I on the way. And that is exactly what she did. And it was awesome. We went all the way out to the beach there on the other side, on the place they call the Magote. Beautiful little beach. There's a little freshwater spring that sort of runs from the middle of the peninsula out into the water there. It's a nice sand beach. There's a lot of stuff around this part of the beach as far as like the shells. You can see that there's a bunch of these scallop shells everywhere, a bunch of the turban snails and the conches. You'll on occasion also find a bunch of fish carcasses from the fishermen. So a lot of what the fishermen do is they'll go make their catches or go harvest what they need to harvest. And then they'll come in over to the shallows there at that beach and sort of clean everything up, and then feed the wildlife with the leftover fish. I found this out when I was out there playing with Mouse on the beach. She has her little rope thing, that bad boy, with the float on it. And oddly enough, let me turn that radio down. So oddly enough, when you toss that little rope thing in the air, it kind of looks like a fish carcass. With the float on the end, it kind of looks like the fish head, and then the rope sort of looks like the body. And this attracted the pelicans, and they got real close, and they started competing with Mouse to get the rope. Now, granted, the pelicans will never win against my dog and her rope, but it was curious for me to see them actually go for it, almost like they were playing fetch. And then it dawned on me, the fishermen, they come here, they clean their catch, and then they feed the birds, take their catch to the store. And I thought that was kind of cool. I felt bad for the pelican because I didn't have any fish to give him, and he waited. There was one that just waited, and he was just looking at me like, come on, dude, you fed the quadruped, hook it up. I didn't have any fish to throw at him, and I felt kind of bad. And then Mouse decided she wanted a sea turkey and tried to chase the bird. She doesn't run well in the water, and the bird is quick to take flight. So that was nice, heading out to the beach like that. I thought that was really cool of Angie and Jay to pick me up. In fact, they're going to pick me up again this morning to take me in to Club Cruceros. Angie's got yoga I'm gonna go do coffee with the rest of the sailors, and then after the yoga, I'm gonna be going up to the Vista room to talk to someone about doing the lettering on my boat. We're finally gonna put the name on the boat. She's no longer gonna be the Penny Ann 2. She will be Sailing Vessel Salt, which I like because it has multiple meanings for me. Mostly, you know, it's used in food, and I'm all about food. So we'll see what happens. Later on this week, I go out with a group of sailors to hit the town. But that's in the next video.
Fueled by ADHD and caffeine since 1976.